Good morning. You know, sometimes I want to say, like they do in the old film, Good Morning Vietnam, but that was a long time ago, right?
Yeah,
so,
it sure was.
no. Good morning, Bella Vista. One more time, which I enjoy every month, we're speaking with Mayor John Flynn, and he's going to give us an update of what's been happening since we talked last.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's great to be here. Great to be here with you, as usual. First thing I wanted to mention, you know, this week at City Hall, there's no power because of the construction they're working on. They had to shut the power down completely for a week for some things they're doing. So everybody's working from home, and you can't come in and get a permit live, at least for these few days. But we'll be back again after the holiday next Tuesday. And that brings up the question of, people have been asking me when we're moving into the new part. And it's going to be second week in July.
Okay.
So we're going to move in there, and the fire department's going to move in their offices pretty much the same time. And that'll be great. And then they'll start working on our old offices. They're changing them around, refurbishing them for the planning and development and the permit folks and things like that. But they're still on that location.
It's great to have everybody all under one roof, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been really good.
Yeah.
People have really liked it, and it's great for working together and efficiency and things like that. So
I like the new tower with the, this is Bella Vista. Does it say City of Bella Vista or just Bella Vista?
Well, it says on the very top part is actually fire department medallions.
Yes.
And it does say Bella Vista Fire Department. And then in print on the side of the building, it says something about fire department and city administration offices.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
It's been a long time coming, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's, I really like the way it looks on the outside. You know, that old building was kind of tired and sad looking, and that brick looks really good. So,
yeah,
I think people will be happy with it.
So we had storms over the last little while, bad ones, right?
Yeah. On our city council meeting on Monday, you know, the funny thing is you have to make a decision in the afternoon, and nothing's happened yet. But you have all these predictions and trying to figure out what to do. So we decided to have the city council meeting by Zoom instead of live, because the real strike zone of the storm was supposed to be right about when the meeting was.
Yes.
And actually, I have a system where I get, you know, phone calls about the weather. And our meeting was starting at 5:30. And at 5:25, I got a phone call at home saying that take shelter, there's a tornado warning. So I guess it was good we did it by Zoom. But the funny thing is, the state actually this last spring passed a law that you can't do any meetings by Zoom. It's just not effective yet. It comes into effect in August, which I don't know why they did that. But, you know, normally we like to be live whenever we can, but once in a while it kind of comes in handy to have that option.
Well,
So,
to me, the way I see it, it's more of a, if you're a city council person, you need to be there, not sitting at home drinking coffee and on Zoom. So maybe it's the combination of the two that they're trying to. Anyway, that law doesn't go into effect fully until August, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
all right. Yeah, it was an interesting perspective. You know, I watched as you sent out a link so that people could watch, which is really great.
Yeah.
And so I enjoyed watching that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's actually kind of a legal thing. You know, it has to be a public meeting. So we always have a link where people can get on and watch. And the funny thing from my point of view, trying to run the meeting, you know, we'll go over something, then I'll say, does anybody have any comments or questions? And it's dead silent, so you don't know. Is there something wrong with my feed? Or is it just nobody has anything they
or
want to
they
say?
have their voice turned off and they're really talking, but you can't see, you can't hear them. So okay, so portable storage containers. What is that about the move?
Yeah, well, that was just a little thing. Actually, you know how people get the portable storage containers and put them in their driveway?
Yeah, that's
it's become pretty popular.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really kind of a routine item, but council kind of thought it was a big deal, I guess. Anyway, so we've had those for a while, and the only problem we ever had is a few people just got them, put them in their driveway, and kept them there like for a year or something, and then the neighbors didn't like that. So that's the reason they had a permit process for it, just so they could have some way of keeping track of it. But anyway, that's just something that's coming up for a vote next week at our meeting, and we'll see how that shakes out.
But isn't that the storage container thing? Isn't that more? What I understood was it's more of an administrative thing. You're voting on it to move it and make it like everything else that requires a permit. It doesn't mean there's a fee attached yet.
Yeah.
If ever.
So, yeah.
Right. Okay.
So, anyway, the other thing they talked about was leasing computers, and we do this from time to time. You know, our IT department has people on us. They like to change out the computers in the 3 to 5 year time frame. And they rotate it, so they're just doing only so many at once, so it's not so much money. This was about $31,000, and you know, it's not everybody's computer; it's just some of them. But they've found that leasing has been a pretty effective mechanism for doing that, cost-effective, and you know, the technology changes so fast nowadays in the business world. They only want to really keep their computers so long.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Everything's kind of a throwaway or a replace me. Can't think straight anymore. Or something.
Right. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, but I've been real pleased with our IT department. You know, we've pumped it up a little bit. When I became mayor, it had 2 people. Now it has 4, and they're, you know, the way our society's going, it's just. The IT is more and more involved in everything. You know, it's involved with the police, it's involved with the fire and dispatch, and you know, when we're building new buildings, making sure everybody's hooked up right, and so it's just gotten to be a bigger and bigger deal. So I think it's good to have some people on there with expertise.
Well, is that kind of a 24-hour thing, or do you just have somebody on call for IT all the time?
Yeah, it could happen anytime. That's right. So yeah, they have people on call, more or less. So they seem to do a pretty good job of covering. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, something that always needs a little more explanation to those that don't really know what it means, the impact fees.
Yeah. We started the impact fees about 4 years ago, and actually Peter Christie was the mayor, and he actually put me in charge of it, so I learned a lot about it. But basically, we get an outside consultant, and the one we use is called Tischler Bice. They're actually the biggest one in the country. And the point of their consulting is they study your city, how it's set up, because an impact fee is a charge just on new construction. It's not a fee on everyone. It's just on new construction.
To the builders.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, whether it's a house or a business or whatever. So, and what we did the first time, and I think it'll stay that way, our fees were pretty modest. In fact, I didn't have even one builder complain about it when we first put them in place a few years ago. So, you know, if things are reasonable and they're modest, they don't mind so much. There's so many moving parts when you're building a house. Of course, as you know, the price of houses and buildings is going up for a lot of different reasons. So, you know, you don't want to do too much. But the idea is to help the city get funds to for the expenses they have that are because of the growth. So it has to be something that is an additional expense that's coming up because of the growth in the number of people in the city.
I liked your example at the work session.
Yeah, that's a real understandable one. My example was, so if your police car has a lot of miles on it, and then you get a new police car for an existing policeman, that can't be covered by impact fees, because it's not because of the growth. It's something you would have done anyway. Even if our population was stagnant, you would have done that.
Okay.
But if you hire a new policeman, because you need more police than you used to have, and then he needs a car, so you get a new car, that cost for that new car could be covered by an impact fee, because it's particularly because of the growth. And of course, as the city grows, you do have more of a need for different things.
Sure.
So that's the thrust of it. And the outside consultant, what they do is make sure what you're doing is legal. And they actually assign particular amounts of money to different things. Last time we did one, we had certain amount of money for police, a certain amount for fire, and a certain amount for the library. And so there's a lot of different categories it can be in. A lot of people, they'll have an impact fee having to do with public parks or things like that, which we don't have so much because of the POA doing the parks. But there's, and sometimes it can be for sewer and water, things like that. So, but they're able to do a study and make sure everything what you're doing is legally correct. So that's what the proposal before council was just for the study. It's about $38,000. The last one was 40-some thousand, and the impact fees we collected over the last 2 years are $2 million or so. Of course, we've had pretty stark growth. If you were a city that wasn't growing much, you wouldn't, you know. But everybody in Northwest Arkansas seems to be growing pretty.
No kidding.
Pretty
Okay, so I
steadily
just
now.
heard something important there. This is just for the study.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
the 38.5K.
Yeah, and then once the study's done, city council could change the rules and vote on the new law, and probably be an increased fee in some areas.
So it also probably includes a comparison, like you said, with the surrounding area to make sure we're compatible or we're not asking for more than another city around us. It gets everybody kind of on the same playing field.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
anyway,
Yeah.
so that's what's happening with that, and that was one of the things that came before council. Another thing before council was we're having 6 new members in the Library Advisory Board, which is a board that meets with the city every month or two and kind of goes over everything. And there's so many people interested in the library. And we had 12 applications for the 6 places, so
Wow.
there's a lot of interest in it.
So this is a whole new board?
No, it's actually an existing board.
Oh, you're
but we
just
happen to have a
renewing
lot
them.
of changes in it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, something really, really big is coming up, and we've been trying to get it through for a long time if Little Rock would cooperate.
Yeah.
But anyway, code reform. Let's talk about code reform.
Yeah, when we first started, we thought it would take about a year and a half, and that would have taken us to about February or March of this year. But as you know, that a state legislature passed some laws that affected some of the codes, so that delayed them a little bit this spring. They kind of had to look at what those changes were and make sure, that the new proposed code would be compatible with that. Because, of course, we always want to comply with the law, the state law, and always do. So, but that slowed up a little bit. So it's coming up in June and July. And as you know, first it goes to the Planning Commission, and you folks deal with it. And then it would come to City Council.
We're having a special meeting just for that at the Planning Commission. And they've said, keep your energy up and be ready to sit there until you work through all those pages. So.
Yeah, I think it's June 30th is the special meeting.
It is.
And there is a public meeting on June 17th where the outside consultants from Tulsa come, and of course our planning people will be there. And it's a chance for the general public to see what it is and put their input in. So they like to all these things, they always like to make an effort to get public input and have the public be aware of it. And of course some people are busy and don't participate, but others do. I believe the meeting's going to be at the rec. Because it has enough space that if you get a pretty good crowd, that it can accommodate.
So how do you feel, Mr. Mayor, about some of the changes? Are they just a change and we have to rethink direction, or are they? I mean, this is not just Bella Vista. These are cities, period. Right? This is not just settled on Bella Vista.
Yeah.
So is it? How do you feel about some of those changes?
Well, as far as our study of the code, I think I feel good about it. One of the things that's happening is, we had some things that are a little bit illogical because different things were passed at different times, and sometimes they copied off Bentonville, and sometimes off Fayetteville, and things didn't always match up exactly right. So I think that's going to be great that the code meshes way better. It'd be good for everybody, good for builders and citizens. And the other thing that happens is, of course, they're looking at the zoning and how they zone different places and whatnot. And I think there's some proposed changes there. I consider them relatively logical and modest. And of course, Bella Vista is unique, as so often we are. There's a lot of people don't realize there's a lot of things from the 1965 declaration that has to do. There's certain areas that we could change the zoning in the city and it wouldn't mean anything. The declaration says that's going to be
the way it is.
Residential.
That's right. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Dave Todd, president of Todd Films. We work alongside Bella Vista Community Television to produce some of the content you see aired here. Have you thought about reaching your customers through a television ad? We have several options for you to consider. They range from coming to our studio here, or going to your place of business, or on location. Once you have your commercial, Bella Vista Community Television has several options for you to consider for airing your commercial. Do you have a live event that you would like to capture on video? We also offer live production packages that may be of interest. Please continue to tune in to Bella Vista Community Television. We hope you are enjoying this program. And now back to the show.
Okay, let's get back. I want to just finish a little bit about the code. And I think I heard you say that from the new rules that are going into effect, and they go into effect in August as well?
Well, it depends when council passes it.
Oh, you're right.
I mean, you're talking about the new rules of the code reform.
The state rules.
Oh, the state rules, yeah, generally it's 90 days after the end of the session, so that it's all going to be pretty much, they can make an emergency and make something go faster if they want, but for the most part, they're coming into effect in August, yeah. So it gives you a little time to plan for it and whatnot.
Yeah, because some things may change drastically and you have to rethink directions and things.
Yeah.
So, okay, all right, so that's what I was wondering is how big a change, and I know you're working through all that right now.
Yeah.
And the really great part is all these new laws, even though it slowed us down, will now be in the new code, our own code, so that it wasn't like we just passed the code and then we have to rethink everything.
Yeah, it was good timing in a way, wasn't it?
In a way.
Yeah.
There's always a pony in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so another topic that was talked about a lot at the work session, Taylor did a really good job, I think, of explaining this, and I think Jason did too.
Yeah.
But schedule of fees.
Yeah, we just put that on as a discussion item. Both the planning, which is Taylor Robertson's side, and the building, which is Roger Geyer's side, are planning to propose a new schedule of fees, and generally speaking, this is fees for people who are building, they would be higher because they've been the same for a long time, and a lot of them are quite a bit lower than our surrounding cities. So we kind of studied and looked at what other people were charging. So, you don't want to overcharge. In fact, that it has to be, by law, fees have to be reasonable. They can't be gouging or whatever. So, but we want them to be somewhat accurate. Times change, and if you pass a fee in 2008, then now maybe it doesn't look so reasonable.
Yes.
It's quite tiny in some cases.
Yes.
So, we have tremendous interest in building. And it's unfortunate, actually. We were supposed to have a meeting on Friday afternoon with the builders, and we had something like 275 signed up, which is great attendance.
That's why you were moving to the rec.
That's why we had to move to the rec center. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was too big for our training room. And unfortunately, we had to delay that because of the weather that day. But we are still going to hold that. And the only reason we didn't pick a date right away, kind of ironically, Roger Geyer is a key guy for that meeting. And he had jury duty starting Tuesday morning, and he doesn't know if he's going to be on. You know how you show up, you don't know if you'll be on a trial or not.
Yeah.
So he was struggling a little to pick a date with his future uncertain. So as soon as we get that sorted out, we'll have a new day. But you want to pick a time that's good for people and they can show up.
Well, it's good to know that you had that much interest, and I'm personally looking forward to seeing the presentation. And who's running that? Are you running that show? Who's running the discussion?
I was more or less going to be introductory and give them some,
So
thoughts
Roger and
I
Taylor?
had. Yeah, and Taylor would do her area, and then Roger would do his. And aside from what we're doing, once again, the state passed some laws that affect some things about building, which I think a lot of builders are somewhat aware of.
Yeah.
But it had to do with trying to speed up the process.
Gotcha.
That it would take builders only so long to get a permit and things like that, which is fine. We believe we can handle that. But Roger was going to explain a little of that to them too, because they may not. It's not the simplest law. It's a number of pages and somewhat complicated, and so we were going to go over that also. But it's all things we think we can handle, and we want things to be built right. We want them to be built according to code, but we want the builders to know that we're all on the same team. We're not hostile to them. We want them to do well, and they're an important part of our economy.
Totally. So can you just give us briefly the difference between, I know we've got two different areas of permits. So Roger takes care of building permits.
Yeah.
And that's under and with the fire department and all of that. Mm-hmm. What does Taylor's group do?
Well, Taylor is more like on the planning side. For instance, there's a grading and erosion control permit, which has to do with the topography and the drainage, which happens to be a big thing in our area, more so than in most cities. And she does various permits, like fence permits and things like that.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So really hers is pre.
Yeah, a
and
lot
his
of the
is
planning
building.
is pre, and his is actually building the house, right?
Okay, well, we spent a lot of time on that, so let's quickly go through. I know a lot of things are coming up, so talk to us about what's coming up.
Yeah. On Memorial Day at 11 a.m., there's always a ceremony at the Veterans Wall, and it's amazingly well attended. It's several hundred people, and some of them are not from Bella Vista, many of them are. And I usually give a short speech, and there's a featured speaker also. It's a nice ceremony, and that Veterans Wall is pretty attractive.
Yes.
The Veterans Wall of Honor group puts that on. So that's happening. And also on Memorial Day, I just wanted to give a shout out, at 7 p.m. at Blowing Springs, there's a band concert. And they pretty much have, the Bella Vista Community Band has a concert on all the summer holidays and then on some other days also. Mm-hmm. But they always have, Memorial
kind of patriotic
Day.
Sort of, veteran-y things.
And that's kind of a fun thing because it's outdoors. It's usually nice weather and that sort of thing. And I couldn't resist mentioning this since it's, Memorial Day. One of our local heroes, KB Smith, he's turning 100 on May 30th.
Oh.
And he was on one of the ships on D-Day. And on the ship he was on, I understand he's the last surviving person. So he's very fortunate to still be in good health. In fact, he's going to be in France on his birthday, and we're going to have a little celebration for him later in June.
Excellent.
But he's a really good guy. And,
excellent.
It's interesting, all the significant people that live in Bella Vista.
I'm always amazed.
Sometimes you'll have some friend, you think he's just a regular guy, and they start saying what he did in his life, and it's just astounding, some of the things. It makes a very interesting area.
Yep. So we got a change in the city council meeting because of Memorial Day?
Yeah, it's on Tuesday at 6 p.m. I just thought I'd mention that so people knew what was what on that.
Yep.
And, on the library, they've had really good success with their program for young people. Mm-hmm. And they have a summer reading program, which actually they have stuff for all ages, but it's a little bit youth-centric. It starts June 9 and goes to July 19, and they have parties and get-togethers at the beginning and the end, and it's been a real successful, well-attended program. In fact, all their youth programs They have a reading program for very young kids. Then they have what they call big kid story time, slightly older. And the attendance on that is just off the charts. They end up having to have extra sessions and things like that. So it's kind of fun to see the growth out there at the library.
They also have a lot of different types of book clubs. I mean, there's some for mysteries, and there's some for was the movie better than the book, and
there's one about romance. That Not Your Mama's Romance Book Club or something like that. Yeah, they have a bunch of them in the evenings, different clubs, and they've been really done a good job with that. It's been very successful.
We're working with them to maybe be on this. Not your show, but let's talk about it in June.
Oh, that would be good,
So now that they've got everything all back to, got everybody in position and all their new programs and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we got another artist spotlight?
Yeah, that's on Wednesday, June 11. And I believe is that on 5:30 p.m. maybe? I'm not sure exactly.
It usually is 5:30-ish.
Yeah. And that's the Artist of the Month for the 3-month period. So that's going to be at the library also. They've switched over because, they used to have it at the country club, but that area they had it, there's a realtor in there now, and it's kind of cramped the space a little. But I always like the library as a venue for that anyway. It's a nice place to have it. You have good space there. So that area they added on to the library. If people haven't been over there, they should go. It's really improved it tremendously, the look of the library and whatnot. I just think it's been a tremendous plus for them.
It has. Yeah. It's a great place.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've got a municipal league coming up. Does that mean all your councilmen people are, and you and Jason, everybody will be in Little Rock?
Yeah, we have municipal league twice a year. There's one in the middle of winter and one in the spring, and this one's June 18 to 20. So it's a good time to get together. They have a lot of seminars, and you can really pick up a lot of information there. And you can also interface with people from other cities and see how they're handling things and whatnot.
Will you explain, for those people out there that don't really know what that is, what is the Municipal League?
Oh, yeah, the Arkansas Municipal League is a nonprofit association. And what they do is they have put on these seminars where all the cities come together, and it's on various topics. It's actually somewhat legalistic. I found that kind of interesting when I first became a councilman.
But you would, because you're an attorney.
Because of my legal career, and I thought, well, this is a different area of the law. From I was doing corporate stuff, and the municipal stuff is a lot of the laws are very specific, and they're there for a particular reason. There's a lot of different laws about financial things, and what you can do and not do, and you can tell they set them up in a way. They're trying to have people not get in too much trouble, get in over their skis, so to speak.
Yes,
financially.
yes.
So, but anyway, so they have that. But the other thing they do is they have a lot of programs. For instance, they have health insurance and property insurance and all different specific things that people might want. And it's tremendously helpful, especially for the little cities. A place like Bella Vista is actually relatively sophisticated. We're the 10th or 12th largest city probably in Arkansas, and some of the ones in Northwest Arkansas are a little bigger, a little more firepower. But a lot of there's over 500 cities in Arkansas, and a lot of them are very small, and don't have the mayor's part-time, and the council people might not have a lot of expertise, and you realize that this organization is really crucial for them from the point of view of helping them with things, keeping them headed in the right direction.
Sure.
The other thing they do is they interface with the state legislature. Any laws that have to do with cities, they put in their 2 cents worth, and they communicate well. I mean, they'll let us know what's going on because there's a lot of different things happening when the legislature's in session. It's hard to keep up.
So they don't lobby. I'm using that word, and it's probably not the right word. They don't lobby, but they monitor what's going on.
They use the word. The legislature uses the word lobby. Actually.
Okay. Well, but they're looking after
Yeah, the city's
Yeah,
interest
kind
in
of a
trying to
watchdog.
city. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's a worthwhile. All of their things are worthwhile endeavors.
Okay, we're almost out of time. I think we have one more thing to tell people on June the 24th.
Oh yeah, I just thought this was interesting. It came up so fast. They're having a little get together, and this is more just for officials. I don't know if they'll do something else. But on June 24, the Razorback Greenway is 10 years old.
Really?
It's hard to believe.
I know.
So time flies when you're having fun, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but you know what's cool for Bella Vista? They have special meetings that are just for cities that are on the Razorback Greenway. And there's 7 cities. It's the big 4, what I call the big 4, you know, Fayetteville, Springdale, Bentonville, Rogers. And then it's Johnson and Bella Vista and Lowell.
Okay.
So there's only 7 cities that are actually on the Greenway. And of course, the Greenway is going further up into Bella Vista.
Yeah.
So it's a fun club to be a part of. Everybody else would love to be in it.
That's right. Okay, I think we're out of time for this month, but I can't wait to see what's happened. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Right.
As always, please go to the City of Bella Vista website. It is new and informative, and you can find out what's going on. Until next time, we've now know everything we can about, to this moment, about the city.
Yeah.
See you next month.
Thank you so much.
You bet.